welcome back to my channel, and if you are new to my channel, welcome. I am back with another Marriage Bootcamp Hip Hop Edition Season 17 review. This review is for episode 4, so if you did not watch my reviews for episodes 1 through 3, please go get all caught up on those. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you are notified whenever I upload a new video. And let's just get right into this review because so much messy shit happened in this episode. So at the end of the last episode, Hazel and Shonda started bickering with each other again after everybody had cooled off from the physical altercation that happened between Devon and Willie. What happened was the drill they were supposed to do in the last episode was the couples separating from each other, having different dance partners with somebody else in the house. And Willie got paired up with Hazel, and Shonda felt like Hazel was going to be extra dancing with Willie. And she did do a little bit too much when she was dancing with Willie, but I feel like Shonda did overreact a little bit. And when they went inside the house, Devon was in the kitchen when Shonda was talking about Hazel being extra, and so he decided to defend Hazel when she wasn't present. And so him and Shonda started arguing back and forth with each other, and then Willie ended up stepping in to defend his wife, and then it turned into a physical altercation between him and Devon. Now, do I think that Shonda did kind of cause the situation? Yeah, because she didn't have to continue arguing with Devon, especially once Willie stepped in. Once Willie stepped in, I feel like she shouldn't have said anything else, and at the same time, I just feel like she shouldn't have really continued to talk about how Hazel was being extra after the little practice that they did was over. She already said it, when Hazel got paired up with Willie, and then she kept saying it again after the practice for the dance already happened. So to me, I do think that Shonda was being a little bit messy, and I don't think that she was jealous of Hazel dancing with Willie, though. I think that Hazel was wrong about that. I don't think that she was jealous. I just think that she felt like Hazel was going to overdo it dancing with Willie because her and Shonda don't get along with each other. Now, that's what ended up happening, and that's how this first episode started, because Hazel kind of reignited the drama by talking about Shonda being jealous. Now, the guys were acting a little bit more mature than Hazel and Shonda, because Devon did end up pulling Willie to the side and apologizing for his actions, and Willie also apologized to Devon for his actions, and the two of them ended up squashing their beef. I think that Hazel and Shonda should squash their beef, although it is entertaining to see. It is a little bit too much sometimes, especially when it turns into your men fighting, defending the two of you. So for me, I just feel like Hazel and Shonda need to take a page out of Devon and Willie's book and squash their little drama. Now, because Corrupt had that little scare of alcohol poisoning and he had to go to the hospital, he decided that he wanted to try to not drink for the rest of the time that he's in the marriage boot camp house, although he knows that it's going to be hard because he feels like if he doesn't stop his drinking that he's going to end up losing Tony. Now, Tony is skeptical about, whether or not Corrupt will actually stick to not drinking while he's in the marriage boot camp house, because although she thinks it's a good idea, she feels like, she's seen him try this before and then he goes right back to drinking again. So I can understand her skepticism, and I hope that he does stick with it throughout the remainder of this season, but I don't really think that he's going to be able to, because him and Tony still got more drills to do for this season, and I just feel like the more stressed out he gets during the drills, the more he's going to end up drinking. Now, Dr.Ish and Judge Tola are in a different room discussing the day 4 drill and how it's going to be based around fighting in relationships. And clearly the couples in this season are no stranger to fighting with each other. And so Dr.Ish says that he doesn't want to let all of the couples know that they're actually going to do a drill, so he ends up splitting them into 2 different groups. One group will be the listeners and the other group will be the speakers, okay? Now, the group of speakers are Corrupt, Hazel, Medina, Willie, and Vado, and they go into a room to do a podcast that they don't know is a part of the drill and that they don't know is going to be seen by their partners, okay? Now, the listening group is Tony, Devon, Phaedra, Shonda, and Tahiri, and they know that this is a drill, and they actually get to sit back and listen to what their partner has to say about them and their relationship during the podcast. Now, Corrupt ends up going first to speak at the podcast, and he says that Tony is an enabler and that the reason why he drinks as much as he does is because Tony stresses him out and that causes him to drink more. Now, Tony gets annoyed by him calling her an enabler and doesn't believe that he knows what an enabler is, because if she was enabling him, she would be providing him alcohol or being okay with him drinking, and that's not what she is and that's not what she's doing. And so she gets annoyed by him saying that, and I agree with Tony on this one. I feel like he needs to take accountability for why he's drinking and not try to blame somebody else for it. He's the only one who can make the changes. Tony can't make him change. He has to want to change, and he can't blame her for his drinking problems. Now, he also says that Tony doesn't like him working with other women and tells a story about how one time he was working with this woman and invited her to his hotel room, but claims that he didn't sleep with the woman. Now, Tony gets upset by this because she says that he tells stories halfway to try to make her look like she's crazy, and that he did indeed sleep with this woman. Now, I believe Tony because she seems like the more logical and more truthful person in the relationship. I believe that he told the story halfway. I think he did sleep with this woman. Why else would he invite her to his hotel room? Now, Hazel is the next one to speak during the podcast, and she says that sometimes she feels like Devon is using her for clout, and then she jokes that he's her sugar baby, okay? Now, as Devon's watching this, he gets annoyed because he doesn't like her making sugar baby jokes, and basically he says in so many words that she's emasculating him, which I can understand him not liking the sugar baby comments. She treats him like he's a little ass boy, but at the same time, she chose to be with him knowing that he was like 15 years younger than her. So she's either going to have to accept the fact that he's younger and still treat him like a man even though he's young, or she's going to have to move on and find somebody her own age. Now, Hazel says that Devon and her argue often, and that Devon goes from 0 to 100 really quick, and that there's no middle when it comes to his temper, which is not a good thing at all. She says that he's aggressive, and one time he tackled her and took her phone and threw her phone somewhere. So for me, I just feel like he has to work on his anger issues, and if she feels like he's going to hit her one day, she probably shouldn't stay in the relationship in order to wait around to see if he is going to put his hands on her. So Medina goes next, and he's talking more during this podcast interview than he does to Phaedra. Now, he says that he's an alpha male and that Phaedra is also an alpha female, but he doesn't like that Phaedra won't get intimate with him, okay? Because they've been together for some months, and he feels like, you know, she's not trying to get intimate with him at all, and it's clear that it bothers him. Now, Phaedra says that, you know, Medina doesn't make much of an effort, and he tries to say that he does try to make an effort with her, but that, you know, a man can wait 6 months for sex, but if Phaedra refuses to ever be vulnerable, then he doesn't know how their situation is going to work. Now, I do feel like Phaedra is not really interested in Medina, and I question whether or not they're even really in a relationship with each other, because, and it's not because she hasn't had sex with him, because don't get me wrong, there are couples who wait a long time before they have sex with each other. There's couples who wait until they get married to have sex with each other, but there's no intimacy at all between the two of them. Not hugging, not kissing, not holding hands, nothing. So for me, I just question whether or not she's really into him, or if they're even really in a relationship at all. Now, Willie ends up going up next, and he says that infidelity is the biggest problem in his relationship with Shonda. He says that he takes the blame because he's the one who started cheating first, but now they both cheat on each other. Now, Shonda gets annoyed by his comment because she said that he's cheated multiple times before she ever decided to cheat on him, and she says that he was caught being inappropriate in a text message with another woman 2 weeks ago, okay? So for me, he's still making the same mistakes he was making at first, but at the same time, if she knows that he's going to continuously cheat and now she feels like she has to cheat too, I just don't understand why she stays in the relationship. I know that they have children, but you're providing a toxic environment for your children, so it's really not benefiting the kids at all. It is ideal for most people to have both parents in the home when you're raising children, but at the same time, if you guys can't get along with each other and you guys are doing nothing but cheating on each other, is that really providing the most stable environment for your children? That's something for Willie and Shonda to think about. Now, Vado ends up going next, and he claims that he's committed to his relationship with Tahiri, but she doesn't see it that he's committed to the relationship with her because she feels like he doesn't make any effort, and she feels like when he talks to other people, he says more and opens up more than he ever does with her. And I don't know how a relationship is going to work if the two of you can't open up to each other, but you have to go to other people, because he revealed in this particular podcast that he still talks to his child's mother and that he's very, very close to her because she understands him, and so he opens up more to her than he does with Tahiri. And Tahiri seems to be a little bit bothered by that. She understands that that's his child's mother, so he's gonna have some sort of relationship with her, but she definitely is uncomfortable with him emotionally cheating because that's what she sees it as. She sees it as he's emotionally cheating on her with his child's mother. I see it the same way. I feel like he's emotionally cheating, and the way that he hesitated when he was asked about other women during this podcast goes to show that he probably is messing with other women as well. She peeped that he hesitated to say no when he was asked about other women. So the couples reunite with each other, and now the group of people who were listening get to confront the people that were speaking on the podcast, and some of them weren't happy, especially Corrupt, that they were being watched and didn't know about it. And so it got a little heated between Corrupt and Tony when the two of them started arguing, because he called her an enabler, and she was bothered by that comment that he made on the podcast, rightfully so, because she's not what you would consider an enabler. He, needs to take accountability for his drinking on his own, and things really go south between the two of them when he tells her to shut the F up, okay? Which, that doesn't work when you tell somebody to shut the F up, and so she told him to shut the F up, got up and stormed off from him because she really didn't want to continue with the arguing, which I think it was good that she got up and walked away. I think when they're more calm, they can have the conversation, but when it's heated as it is and they're swearing at each other, I just think that it's best for one of them to get up and walk away from the conversation. Now, when Tahiri goes to confront Vado about the things that he said on the podcast, he just kind of laughs it off like he doesn't even care. And so Tahiri feels like he's not taking anything seriously, and so she walks away from him. I don't think he's taking anything seriously either, and I really don't see them as a match. I don't even see like they're even into each other. Like, they just don't seem like they're into each other at all. And he seems to not really care too much because he just laughed it off when she came to have a conversation with him. Now, Phaedra tells Medina that relationships aren't just built on sex, and that a lot of the time he's hard for her to read, and so that's why she doesn't know where they stand with each other, and so she doesn't seem to really take the relationship seriously. Now, Medina says that he tries to be respectful to Phaedra and her wishes and not try to move too fast with her because of what she went through with Apollo, and he knows that she's still healing from that, but sometimes he feels like she just sees him as this really, really nice guy that she's not interested in, and I can kind of understand where he's coming from with that, because a lot of the times women aren't really attracted to men who are too nice. Like, if you're overly nice, a lot of the times women won't really be attracted to you that much because they like a guy with a little bit of an edge. I just feel like Phaedra's not really interested in him, and sometimes I question whether or not they're even really together. Now, Willie and Shonda end up having their little talk, and he tells her that he takes accountability for his actions, but his problem with Shonda is that she doesn't take accountability for hers, which is true. Both people in the relationship need to take accountability for their actions in the relationship for the way that it is, because there's no way that you guys can work on yourselves and the relationship together collectively if the two of you won't take accountability for your actions. First step is taking accountability and realizing that you did some things that were wrong in the relationship. Now, he says that no matter what he does or says, it'll never be enough for Shonda, and he wants Shonda to stop making his life hell, and Shonda tells him that he's the reason that she acts the way that she does. Now, I believe that she doesn't trust him, and she's not happy because of him continuously cheating on her, but at the same time she chooses to stay in that relationship with him knowing that he continuously cheats. If you keep giving him all these chances and he still keeps on cheating on you and you stay, then I don't know why you keep on arguing with him every goddamn day, because you're choosing to stay with him regardless of what he does in the relationship. That's just my opinion, and that's the way that I see it, though. Some people may disagree with that, but that's just me. Devon and Hazel kind of have a little bit of a back and forth because he tells her that he does not like the sugar baby comments or the sugar mama comments that she makes, and that he's a grown man. He doesn't want to be treated like he's a little boy. And Hazel says that she doesn't want to be scared in the relationship with him because he goes from 0 to 100 really quick, and he can get very aggressive, and he tries to reassure her that he would never put his hands on her, but she's unsure because if you'll friggin' like get extremely aggressive with her, you may hit her at some point. And so if she's really afraid of that happening, she probably shouldn't stay in the relationship with him, or he's gonna have to try to get some type of help to manage his anger. Now, the couples are called to the boot camp room for the last part of their drill. They have to pretend to be each other to show the other person how the other one acts. And Willie and Shonda end up going up first. And their issue is listening. That's the thing that Dr.Ish wants the two of them to work on. They had a little piece of paper in their hand, and that's what it said on the paper. It said that they need to listen to each other better, because it's clear that they kind of just argue and they're just waiting for the other one to finish so that they can say what they have to say instead of actually listening to what the other person has to say. Now, Dr. Ish ends up interrupting Willie when he says that he's tired of the way that Shonda speaks to him, and he tells Willie that Shonda's tired of being hurt by him. Now, they both have to take accountability for that, though. He's tired of the way that she talks to him, so he needs to stop doing the things that's making her talk to him the way that she is, and she should stop treating him like that if she's going to stay with him regardless of him cheating, because if you know he keeps on cheating and you keep staying with him, then I don't see the point in continuously running your mouth to him every single day. Doesn't make any sense to me. It just makes the two of you completely miserable, and who wants to stay in a relationship like that? Now, Devon and Hazel's little piece of paper said that they need to work on sticking to one play, because they'll argue about one thing and then a million other things will come up and they'll start arguing about all those other things. That probably means that they kind of swipe things under the rug too much. They don't really deal with certain issues, and then once they argue about something, then all those other things that they're still mad about ends up coming up. So that's definitely something that the two of them need to work on. Actually, a lot of couples need to work on that, because a lot of couples do that. That's actually a really normal thing to happen in a relationship. Now, Tony and Corrupt got same team as the thing that they need to work on in their relationship, because they don't really work together as a team, especially not Corrupt. He's more of an individual. He kind of feels like she needs to accept everything that he does, and he can do what he wants to because he's corrupt, and he can do no wrong. So for me, I just feel like that's a good thing for the two of them to work on. Now, Vado and Tahiri ended up getting stay in the game because the two of them seem to give up on each other a lot. To me, they've already given up on each other, because it seems like he's not really taking boot camp seriously, and she seems like she's completely over him. And also, she said during this ending part of the drill that she didn't even know that he was as close to his baby mama as he said that he was during the little podcast interview that he did. So for me, they have a lot more issues now that they have to deal with, and I can see the two of them crumbling as this season progresses. And lastly, Medina and Phaedra got Celebrate as what they need to work on, because they seem to be uptight together and not really seeming like a couple to anybody. They don't seem like they have any type of fun with one another. They just seem completely disconnected. They even give each other a kiss during this little drill, and it was really awkward. Actually, I don't even think they kissed on the lips. If they did, let me know down in the comment section, but it seemed like he was just kind of kissing her neck in a joking type of way. To me, it was really weird and uptight, because I've seen the way Phaedra has kissed Apollo on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and it was definitely nothing like that. So for me, I just feel like they ain't really a couple. At this point, I don't think they are. Now, Judge Toller ends up giving her thoughts on what went down in the drill, and she says to Shonda and Willie that if Shonda stays angry over the things that happened in the past, nothing in their relationship could be fixed. I feel like she's right about that, because if they decide to have a clean slate with each other where they're going to start all over again, she's going to have to stop bringing up the past all the time if they're trying to work on moving forward, because if she won't let that go, then they're just going to continue to be in this messy situation. But he also needs to stick to his word. If he tells her he's not going to cheat on her and he's not going to disrespect her, then he shouldn't be doing it, because that's just going to give her every reason to continue to keep on talking about the things that he did before, because he's still doing those things now. So she ends up telling Phaedra and Medina that she's confused by them and she's unsure if they're really a couple, which I agree with her. I'm unsure if they're really a couple too. She ends up telling Corrupt that he needs to start appreciating Tony because she's going through a lot putting up with him because he's a lot to deal with, and that she's still by his side even though he's a lot to deal with, which is true. He should start appreciating his wife, but if she's too stressed out in the relationship with him and he's not progressing and getting better, then she has every right to get herself out of that relationship because she has every right to be happy. Now, she says that she's concerned about Hazel, saying that Devon has no middle when it comes to his temper and that he seems to have a bad temper because they've seen it in the house a couple of times, and especially with the fight that he had with Willie, you can tell that he goes from 0 to 100 very quickly. That's definitely something he needs to work on, and Hazel needs to figure out whether or not that's the type of person she wants to deal with because he seems to be a little bit unpredictable to her. Now, she ends up telling Vado that he needs to start manning up because at this point she seems like he doesn't take anything serious, and that's the reason why Tahiri acts more like a mom to him than a girlfriend. Like I said, I see her and Vado not making it at the end of this show. I don't think that they're going to stay together at the end of this. At the very end of this episode, Hazel ends up telling Devon that she wants him to come upstairs with her to go to bed because she wants to go to bed at a decent hour and she doesn't want him to stay downstairs and hang out with the other cast members in the house. But he decides that he doesn't want to go to bed yet. He wants to stay downstairs and have a few conversations with some of the people in the house. She gets pissed off, so she storms upstairs because she's mad about it, and she gets on the phone and she's talking on the phone to her friend while Devon is downstairs having a conversation with Vado. And Devon ends up telling Vado that he's tired of Hazel bossing him around. He's tired of her bossing him around, telling him what to do, treating him like he's a little boy. That's definitely something that Hazel needs to work on because, like I said before, she chose to be with him knowing that he was a lot younger than she is. So she can't keep throwing his age in his face all the time because she chose him knowing that he was a lot younger than her. So she's either going to accept the fact that he's younger than her and still treat him like a man, or toss him to the side because he's a little too young for her. But when Devon is done having the conversation with Vado, he ends up going upstairs and seeing that Hazel is on the phone. So he goes up to her and asks her who she's on the phone with. Now, I can say he was calm when he was asking her who she was on the phone with, and she popped up from out of the bed and was yelling in his face because he didn't come upstairs. He was staying downstairs. And I honestly feel like she did too much when it came to that, because if you're saying he's this aggressive guy and you're scared that he might hit you one day, you shouldn't be jumping up, popping up in his face. That doesn't give him an excuse to put his hands on her, but I also feel like if she's so afraid that he's going to hit her, she shouldn't jump in his face the way that she did. Now, she did end up laying back down, though, and he got pissed off because she wouldn't tell him who she was on the phone with, and so he ended up snatching the phone from her. But the way that he did it was a very aggressive way. Like, he was very aggressive the way he snatched that phone from her, and that's something she's going to have to figure out if she wants to stay in the relationship with him, because the way that he gets from 0 to 100 really quickly, she doesn't know at this point what he'll do. I hope he wouldn't put his hands on her, but the way that he snatched that phone from her seemed like it ain't far-fetched to think that he would. So that's how the episode ended. I thought this was a really good episode, though, because I thought that the drill that they did was important. It's something that a lot of people can work on in their relationships. So let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button for me. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you to all my subscribers for the support. I appreciate you all. I am getting closer and closer to reaching my goal, so I want to thank you all for that. And until next time, I will see you in my next video.